A warm greeting, sir. Here we have our Mr. Chinnamardu, CEO of Optima Human Capital Services. They involve in HR consultant training programs. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. I'm happy to be here to give an interview with all you guys and girls. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Over to you, Kausalya.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Kausalya. Yeah, we can.
Can you please share that? How would you provide training for freshers and also existing employees of your company?
Yeah, I will elaborate you in detail. Actually, there are a lot of leading institutions and there are a lot of good mark scorers. Those people are applying for jobs and they are coming here for an interview, and after crossing the interview, we are putting them into, induction programs, a lot of beginning training programs, etc., etc. What we do is, for what particular position we are selecting them, number one. Number two, what are all the calibers, qualities, and capacities they have already with them? We are assessing them and we give them training in the area which we are going to deploy them, and what are all the deliveries we are expecting from them. We are enriching into those areas. This is for the freshers, and the people, those who are working already, we used to have a discussion with the department heads, whatever, maybe production, maybe manufacturing, maybe marketing, maybe quality control, or purchases and stores, etc., etc. We have a discussion with their department heads, finding out what are all the gaps they have while delivering their day-to-day works. They are delivering their duties. So we find out the gaps and we plan a lesson or content, a training content based on that. And we give training programs for the existing employees with the help of the HR department. We have a separate training and development department or learning and development department. We give training through them, or we hire people, we outsource people as freelancers or domain subject matter experts outside the organization. We engage them to deliver a particular topic or what kind of a topic we are exactly looking for. This is how we give training for the people or freshers as well as the experienced holders. Yeah. Basically, we have a training need identification questionnaire. So with that questionnaire, there will be a lot of details, pre-printed requisition will be there. So the department head has to fill up it according to the capacity of their employees and according to the requirement what they are really in a need of. Okay, so the training need identification form will clearly demonstrate the exact requirement for the training and how the participants have to perform after completing the training. So the training need identification will clearly indicate the need. Okay, yeah. Yes, Rahul.
Hello, sir. How frequently you do HR auditing, sir?
HR auditing is based on incident based, that is one case, and other cases we have a periodical HR auditing kind of a thing. What we normally do is we as and when the problem comes, or as and when the requirement comes, or once in every 3 months minimum, or once in a year maximum, we used to conduct a HR audit. That HR audit is consisting of what you call the job satisfaction study of all the employees and the present problems they are facing on ground, and what are all their expectations in terms of infrastructure, in terms of salary or other facilities, or anything like that. Okay, so there are places where there won't be much of a job role clarity. So the JD has to be restudied, and the job description also needs to be, because say for example, if a company is running with some kind of machines and they are automating few machines. Whenever they automate their machines, what we have to do is we have to make the people, how we are supporting the clients to conduct performance appraisal is we give them a standard formats and they might be having their own formats based on the appraisee, the person those who is going to be appraised. We list out his job responsibilities, his the previous track records of his achievements or his shortfalls, his failures, and how he is coping up with new assignments, how he is able to pick up challenges, how he is able to guide others, train others, and how he is a capable person if at all he is promoted or if at all he is given some extra responsibilities or extra role clarities. So we have a standard format for assessing all those criteria. It is based on client to client, it will vary. A manufacturing company will have some standards and the service industry will have some standards. A financial banking industries will, showroom, retail, everybody have some standards. So based on the standards, we assess them with the help of the performance appraisal forms. There are some key result areas. There are some key performance indicators. So we used to assess with the tool, a standard tool, exactly suiting to their requirements.
Okay, sir. Sir, can you please share the performance appraisal techniques that you offer for another organization? How will you train there?
Okay, see, the performance appraisal is a standard template to assess a person about how much performance he is progressively improving or how he is getting in align with the requirement of the management. Okay, so say for example, if a person is working as an operator or as a helper or as a supervisor, if he completed 1 year or 2 years or 5 years or whatever, after completing that many years, he has to show some changes, show some improvements in his day-to-day activities.
Sir, do you prefer de-jobbing techniques?
De-jobbing techniques. You mean to say that sending them off from the job?
Yes, sir.
Okay. As of now, we don't do de-jobbing techniques, but some cases will arise that the people, those who are not performing well, or when people are overcrowded, or when an organization doesn't need that much number of persons, they opt to go for de-jobbing. So the de-jobbing not exactly done as asking them to go off from the job. What they do is normally, what we also suggest is giving them some other responsibility with a lesser portfolio or with a lesser salary package, or making them to utilize their kind of expertise into the necessary works whenever it arises, kind of a thing we do. But de-jobbing, when de-jobbing coming in case of any unavoidable circumstances like COVID-19, or if a company is losing their entire order, or if a company is closing down. So to that cases, we advise them to do a de-jobbing training with a proper notice, asking them to go for searching their new jobs, or making them to find, helping them to find some new jobs, kind of a things we do. But normally as a punishment kind of a thing, or the purposefully sending them off is not happening nowadays, I believe. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
As an HR, what is your best experience and worst experience, sir? Can you please share?
Yeah, I can. See, the HR person is a guy or the HR person is a woman, is capable of managing situations and a quick decision maker. Because the HR is a person who is responsible for all the operations happening inside the factory or outside the factory. So he is a best crisis management expert, and he's a good decision maker, and he never ever depend anybody for completing a task within a stipulated time. So on that case, I feel I'm a proud HR guy, because most of my friends, relations and society, wherever I go, I used to shine like a jewel, because I voluntarily go to people and introduce myself and talk to them, and I will address them if anything comes, addressing a gathering or giving a word of thanks or giving a welcome address. I immediately appear there and rock the floor like anything. And the HR persons will normally have a good body language, good appearance, good dressing sense, and good communication skills, good expressions, and everything. So the HR has got a lot of indirect influences in the overall personality. So I feel proud of being a HR, because HR can manage any portfolio, any role, but the people, those who are coming from different other streams, may not be able to perform as a HR, because there are a lot of people interactions are involved. This is the best experience, I feel. If you want to, ask me a kind of a specific experience, I will think and tell you. But the worst thing, the bad thing about HR is we sometimes, not always, sometimes there will be our hard works will not be taken into account. Sometimes our hard work will go thanklessly, creditlessly, and we don't have any time frame. Whenever some problem arises, the first call they make to is the HR department. And whenever any inspection, audit, or any statutory obligations, violations, or deviations, we are answerable. And most of the times, for even it is not related to us, the people start fingering HR. They pinpoint HR department that because of their inability, it has happened like that. So at times we feel bad of being HR, but HR is a department. HR is a portfolio. HR is a profile. Will groom us day by day like anything. So I feel, in fact, I feel proud of being HR. No doubt about it. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, how will you handle cultural misunderstandings, sir?
Cultural misunderstandings. Cultural misunderstandings can be handled only by addressing them, only by making them to understand that this is what we require. So we have to make them to feel that they are capable, and we have to tell them that we need only this. It is enough for you to perform like this. Your output has to be like this. Like that, we can explain them. And cultural disturbances, cultural variations, or cultural differences will never ever affect our regular works. So the interaction has to done to them to make the position or the situation or the what exactly we are in the need of. Based on the requirement, we have to educate them, we have to empower them, and also we have to enrich them to perform like that. Because there are people, those who do not know Tamil and Hindi, I mean English, but a lot of migrated workers are working extremely well here, because we are engaging them only because they are very less, their cost is very low, and they do hard work, and they perform a lot of overtimes, and they never take leave, or they never go absent. Okay, so this is a major advantage. So there is no need of culture at all here, right? So the cultural differences will never affect the function of HR or the function of an industry. Okay. Yeah.
Being a strategic partner, what do you think a HR major role is?
Yeah, being a strategic partner, the HR's major role is to completely understand the market, completely understand the customer requirements, and completely equip the team of the hardcore supply chain as a most powerful resources for delivering the necessary performances. And we should also have a market intelligence and domain subject matter domain expertise also we should have. So because we are the one who do recruitment, selection, performance appraisals, increment, fixation of payments, and sometimes exit interviews, conducting the interviews, all the things has to be in our role. So we should have as a strategic partner, we should have a lot of intelligence, knowledge, and we should have also visionary thinking also we should have. So we must equip ourselves every day about the what are all coming technologically and market wise new things arriving. We must be aware of. Yeah.
Sir, can you
Did I
please?
answer your question? Yeah.
Sir?
Yes, Lalita.
Sir, can you please share your source of recruitment, sir?
Source of recruitment, it all depends upon place to place and position to position. Because if you want to recruit people in a lower cadre, it is better to give advertisement through local newspapers, right? And if you want to go for kind of a little bit of higher job roles, you can get profiles from the job portals, or you can place online advertisements, and you can use the help of LinkedIn kind of medias, okay, the professional social medias. And nowadays the Facebook is also so popular in recruiting people, so we can use those social medias also. And the mainstream media like popular newspapers, opportunities columns and all, these are all the source of recruitment for new positions. And there are manpower consultants, headhunters, and placement consultants also there. We can also get their support, get their service.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
What type of interview method you prefer for recruiting, sir?
If you are recruiting a person for a position of helper or driver or operator or assistant in a maintenance department, the interview can very easily done by the department head. What as a HR, what we have to do is we have to do the basic qualities, attitude, and his education, certificates, verification of his identity, and where he belongs to, what kind of family background he have, what is his knowledge level, what is his languages proficiency, kind of things we can inquire. And the subject matter wise has to be decided by the department head. Okay. If we are recruiting higher positions like managerial, senior level managerial, or senior engineers or department heads, we can be the interview panel after screening their basic things like what I said, the certificate verification and the basic attitude test and everything. But his caliber and his capacity has to be assessed by a senior level person within our company, or we can even outsource. Engage an agency to complete this. Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Clear. Sir, can you
What
please
is-
explain your sir?
Yes.
Can you please explain your onboarding process, sir?
Onboarding process. Onboarding. Again, I think I've already answered you. Onboarding process has to be, defined with a few criteria, like selecting them, giving them a probationary or training period, giving them appointment letter, making them to undergo training, making them to undergo training in the department which he is going to work, and equipping him or her for the work is or she is going to deliver. These are all the things, and we have to, there are methods, softwares, or there are some kind of supporting system for monitoring or for evaluating their performance, and based on the surveys. For example, if they complete 1 month, they have to call again and they have to give them some briefing, and they have to be clearly asked about what are all the problems they have and what are all their needs, has to be attended by us. And if we are giving them a 3 months probationary period, we should call them at least 10 days before and tell them that within 10 days the probation is going to be completed. If you want to say anything, or if you want to continue, or what are your exact requirements, or what is your observations about continuing here, or are you willing to continue, or you are going to for some other thing, like that we have to interact with them, right? So these are all the onboarding processes. After making them on board, we should also frequently check with their department heads every day to whom they are reporting to. We have to ask them about their performance, about their behavior, and about everything almost, right?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Fine. Then,
Sir, if a company approaches you to know about compensation procedure and what type of compensation procedure to be followed in their company, means what will be your preference for them?
again, it is case to case, it will differ, because there are companies purely depending upon the manpower. There are companies purely depending upon their skill sets. There are a lot of companies like, the call centers or the knowledge process outsourcing companies are purely depending upon their proficiency in closing the cases, their proficiency in completing the task. So based on the exact functionality of an organization, the compensation can be fixed. Okay. If you have some clarity about the question, if you want to ask you with more clarity, I can explain. Otherwise, it's a simple thing, as I said.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, how do you handle employee grievances?
Employee grievances, there must be a welfare officer, there must be a welfare, say for example, if a company, a garment manufacturing company, there are thousands of women workers are working. So there should be some lady welfare officers to take care of their maternity leave, to take care of their health issues, etc., etc. And there will be times coming for, requesting for loans, or asking for salary advances, or any kind of the mediclaim policies or insurance renewals. There will be a lot of things. They are clearly covered under ESI and PF Act mostly. In addition to those PF and ESIs, there are organizations giving them medical benefits. There are organizations having group mediclaim policies. The health insurance policies, kind of things are also there. So these all needs to be taken care by the welfare officer. So the welfare officer should have a job responsibilities, roles, and authorities to deal with all these things.
Okay,
So the
sir.
grievances can be taken care and followed with the proper guidelines.
Okay, sir.
How
Then
do you grade your employees, sir?
grading employees.
Grading employees.
Okay. Grade the employees. It's a mixture of knowledge. It's a mixture of knowledge, intelligence, and their attitude, obedience, and their turnout, and how fast, how clear, how precise they are completing their tasks. Based on that, the employees can be graded. Because there are organizations on those days, they grade employees only with their experience. Okay, the experience is not a measuring criteria for making an employee a officer or assistant. Okay, it also has to be considered with their efficiency. So based on that, we grade them. Then,
Can you please tell us do you develop that job description?
developing job description
Yes, sir.
for a new job. Okay, for a new job. Yeah, job
Sir,
description.
yes.
JD is nothing but what are all the authorities and responsibilities and routine works. Okay, based on that only we have to design the job description. Say for example, we are designing a job description for a marketing representative or a sales representative. What we have to do is, what is the reporting time in the field? What is the reporting time to the office? What are all the documents he has to take? What are all the documents he has to submit duly filled? How he has to conduct the market visit? How many people he has to meet per day? How many persons he has to meet in a month? How much turnover he has to make in a month? How much minimum sales he has to make in a particular product? How much sales he has to make in the particular area? These are all the conditional criteria to decide a job description.
Okay, sir, we know that
Okay,
many teenagers are interested to get into the HR profession. So what will be your advice for them, sir?
See, HR is a noble profession and HR is a happening profession. Even there are chances for many positions to vanish. There are many positions going to disappear, but HR will be there. According to my knowledge, HR will be there to some extent, because wherever there are people working, there should be some human resource guy. He has to take care of the day-to-day affairs of industry. So he should be there. And HR is a department, we can learn new things every day. Because we are facing challenges, we are facing problems, and we are dealing with people. Dealing with people is the toughest subject under the sun. There are engineers, there are even scientists also, but they all deal with equipments, chemicals, and even robotics, machines and all. But HR is a profession, we deal with human beings. Human beings are unique and human beings are different. One human will not think as the other human are thinking, right? So HR will be a very interesting career, interesting profession, but we should equip ourselves. We have to read a lot. We have to keep on updating ourselves, and we have to frequently interact with people, and we have to be aware about the latest arrivals, latest updates, and we should also gain more knowledge from the people, those who are already working in HR domains, or even you can interact with the leading organizations, HR portals. You can visit there, you can shoot your questions, you can shoot your inquiries, and you can tell them that you want to learn more. I don't want any salary or anything. I just wanted to be there in your organization for a month, for 2 months. The only thing I require is I want to learn. You can give me a certificate as a trainee. If you go and ask with any HR guy, they will surely help, because what they do is they give you some tasks, they give you some assignments to complete. While completing it, you will be able to learn many things, and they also teach you many things, right? And when you go for a job interview, you can very easily say that I was there for 2 months in an organization. I learned, these are all the things I have learned. So you will be given importance, you will be given preference compared to the other aspirants, candidates. Okay. So I wholeheartedly encourage the new generation to choose HR as their profession, because HR is the profession you have a lot of challenges and a lot of learnings. You will have job satisfaction also.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for sparing your quality time with us and for sharing your knowledge with us. This section was very interesting and useful for us. It was a great opportunity. I also thank Mr. Sundarbandian, our HOD, for encouraging to create these opportunities. Once again, thank you so much on behalf of all the members of my group.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You are most welcome, Lalita Kalyani, Monisha, Kausalya, and Rahul Pandi. Wish you all the best, and I wish you for a great career success. And if at all you require any clarification, you can chat with me through WhatsApp, and I will possibly try to help you out also.
Thank
Right.
you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I
Sir,
hope
thank you,
that
sir.
I hope the interaction with me will definitely give some clarity in your goals. Right. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Wish you all the best.